The one that used to be Madam of the Mansion. Balan brushed his fingers against the brim of his top hat. In the time it took for Street Beat Leo to blink, Balan had transported them to a strange room. I said I wanted to go to Madam of the Mansion stage next, Balan. Indeed you did, Balan spread his hands. I have done as you bid. Leo took another look at their surroundings. If he squinted, he could just make out the resemblance to the grand mansion Madam of the Mansion had ushered him and the others through the last time he'd been here. But the lavish console tables with their vases and ornaments were gone, as were the extravagant tapestries and the plush furniture. The only things Leo could see were giant tubes of pigment and all sorts of brushes lying around the plates, like oversized objets d'art, and a painting on the wall that looked like it was only half finished. This can't be the same mansion. The hallways were a jumble of 90 and 180 degree angles, skewed this way and that, while dozens of staircases crissed and crossed, some leading nowhere, others jutting right into the ceiling. There's no way out of here. Perhaps not, or maybe so. You might yet discover something useful, you know. At that, Balan vanished. Leo looked around. Something useful, huh? His roving eyes stopped on a huge mirror. There hadn't been a single mirror in the mansion the last time he'd been here. That was when he remembered Clock Tower Kid pulling out a little mirror from her pocket, frantically checking her turquoise hair before they went inside. She knew there weren't any mirrors in the mansion, and that she couldn't take out hers around Madam of the Mansion. But why mirrors? Leo jerked as he noticed something strange. The reflection! He stood in front of the mirror, looking at the backwards reflection of the room. Slowly, he reached his hand out to touch it. His fingers contacted the glass surface and then sank into it. There's a room on the other side! Leo steeled himself, then stepped all the way through. The room he stepped into was the flipped and inverted version of the one he had just come from. In the mirror, the staircase that had hung down from the ceiling now ascended from the ground, and the warped hallways now formed a path forward. Madam of the Mansion's illusion appeared, guiding him through the stage. But even with her leading the way, the floors and ceilings and hallways and staircases twisted and turned in such a surreal fashion, Leo felt certain he was going to get lost. After some time making his way through the mansion, Leo finally found a heart tree tucked inside a room that seemed made for hiding things. The Tims helped him get the heart fragment the same way they always did. This first piece was Madam of the Mansion's confidence in her appearance. Is that why there weren't any mirrors before? Because she couldn't stand to look at herself anymore? After a while, he found the second fragment of Madam of the Mansion's heart, the part that accepted herself just the way she was. Leo tilted his head, confused. Up until now, the heart fragments the others had discarded when they succumbed to their negativity and turned into monsters had to do with something they'd cherished, but had ultimately hurt them. The Madam of the Mansion that had invited Leo inside her mansion had been bright and bubbly, maybe a little bit too much, the way she fussed and spoke without hardly pausing for breath. She had accepted herself just the way she was, and yet, in doing so, had hurt herself enough for the Balan Theater to appear? You really can't know what's inside a person's heart from what they show you on the surface. The illusion Madam of the Mansion was pointing the way again. He followed her to a ravine that was so deep he couldn't make out the bottom when he peered over its edge. But he could sense Madam of the Mansion on the other side. If he wanted to get to her, he would have to find a way across. Leo drew on the power of her stage for help. When he opened his eyes, he saw he was wearing a costume called X-Ray Ape. It may have looked like a comical rendition of a Tarsier, but it came with some serious power. Leo could see a handful of bridges floating in what he had taken to be empty space above the ravine. He realized this costume let him see things that were otherwise invisible to his naked eye. He leapt from bridge to bridge, but then stopped. He sensed a strange presence. Some sort of goo was dripping onto the bridge in front of him. The wooden planks it plopped onto started to smoke and melt away like slices of cheese over an open flame. Leo startled back, then glanced up. What is that? A grotesque monster floated in the air above him. Inca Bell. It looked vaguely like an octopus, except it had way more than 8 tentacles, each of which gripped a giant paintbrush dripping the bridge-melting goo. Leo remembered the paints and brushes he'd seen inside the transformed mansion earlier. Was Madam of the Mansion an artist in the real world? The monster didn't give him time to ask, though he doubted she would have answered. She swiped her paintbrushes at him, filling the air with a downpour of goo. Leo dodged back out of the way, keeping his eyes fixed on the monster. At this rate, there weren't going to be any bridges left to stand on. The monster slowly advanced on him, seeming to realize she wasn't getting anywhere trying to paint him out of existence. Right where I want you. From that height, Leo figured he could get in an attack or two of his own. But it was not that easy. The bridge planks were starting to fade. No matter how hard Leo stared at them, X-Ray Ape's power wasn't going to keep them visible for much longer. He only had the ability to see through things because he borrowed it from Madam of the Mansion's stage. He would have to turn to flee, but it was too late. The bridges disappeared. Leo couldn't tell where was safe to step and where was simply air. He couldn't move. He was trapped in place under a merciless deluge of goo. But then he realized he didn't need to see the bridges themselves. They might have been invisible to him now, but he could still see the signs of goo sizzling them away. Where there was smoke, there must be planks. So much for painting me into a corner, Madam of the Mansion. Grinning, Leo leapt from bridge to bridge, trying to locate Lance's mark on Inca Bell. He found it just as she swiped one of her paintbrushes at him, and he hurled the fragments right at it. Inca Bell gave a shriek of anguish as she started to shrink, until nothing was left of her but Madam of the Mansion. She was back to normal, but she glared at Leo accusingly.
Why are you trying to destroy my stage?
She asked in a tearful voice. Because this isn't where we belong. This isn't our home. It's not real.
Real? What does that even mean?
She was shaking all over.
Painting was my life's passion, so it was only natural I became an artist. Then someone had to go and award me some big fancy prize.
Leo was confused. Isn't that normally a good thing?
There was nothing good about it. After that, everyone started judging the value of everything I painted. I couldn't put colors on a palette without worrying about how the finished product would be received. The only things I could paint were copies of pieces I knew were already popular, and then copies of those copies, until one day I realized I had no idea what I really needed. But everyone was waiting for my next masterpiece. I forced myself to work on it. I pushed myself too hard, and in the end, I took a big brush and painted over the entire canvas in black. I painted 13 canvases in nothing but black when the Balan Theater appeared. This place was supposed to be my refuge from painting.
Madam of the Mansion was sobbing.
Tell me, if you're so smart, what is real?
Leo didn't have an answer. He was casting around for a response when Balan appeared. All those fancy things have vanished, and only mirrors remain. Mirrors that weren't here before, for they brought you so much pain. What could that be but a symbol of the love for yourself you feel? Deep down inside, you still want to paint. Isn't that feeling real? Emboldened by Balan's words, Leo took Madam of the Mansion's hand in his. Help me fight Lance, and then you can go back home and paint what you want to paint. Madam of the Mansion shoved Leo away from her.
I'm not going anywhere. This stage, this is my home.
She wailed through her tears. There was nothing else he could say to her.